Grind hard, 5 a.m. cold plunge ice baths, 10K runs, and hustling every day. That is the lifestyle for some business owners, but it can be done another way. What happens when you work hard but prioritise your personal life? Yes, the focus is on building a business, but also fitness and socialising and things outside of work. Let's find out on this next episode of Work This Way. Welcome to Work This Way by Foundry. I'm Adam, your host, and today I'm joined by FOUNDRY Wandsworth member James Palmer, or Palms as we call him. James is a financial planner and tax advisor who works with clients specifically in the tech industry. James is a twin who is passionate about growing his business, but just as passionate about having a personal life. Welcome, James.
Hiya, pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming on, man.
No worries.
We really appreciate it. James didn't realise about you, but you're a twin. Brother, it's fair to say, is leading a different path to you at the moment. Must have felt some peer pressure. How's it going?
Being a twin's the best thing in the world. I think I'm very lucky to be a twin, but it comes with challenges too. We've lived life at the same stage the whole way through your life.
Let's roll back to where you're from. Take us back to school days.
Little boy, twin brother, older sister, living in Winchester. Mum and dad together. They separated when I got to about 10. And then dad moved away, sort of lived at home with mum. Yeah, live in Winchester sort of my whole childhood. Me and my brother quite quickly ended up living independently, various reasons. And then, I think we moved into a flat when we were 18. We bought our first flat when we were 21, and I was studying and working at the time. And I said to him, when I qualify, I'm moving straight to London. And qualified, did exactly that. Took me a few months to get a job because of various sort of interview processes. And he worked in recruitment and got a job like that. So we moved
in London.
Yeah, so he followed suit. 2 friends also followed. And 4 of us made a journey up the M3 and moved into London.
And being from Winchester, are you boaty? Adam Howie is a local boy down there.
I wouldn't say boaty, sporty, but more on land rather than on the water.
James, school for you, you look back fondly upon those times, those formative years. What led you to the glamorous world of tax and financial planning?
I've always been good with numbers. I wouldn't say I've been academic. I think being a twin, we've naturally been very competitive in all areas of our lives. So as much as we're not academic, beating him in my GCSEs was a good pleasure. But we've never been academic. I think for me, how I've ended up where I am is the competitive nature within me. And being a twin, we naturally really push each other on to do the next big thing. So that's where I think I ended up where I am. But I wouldn't say naturally academic.
You and Harry growing up, how did that pan out?
It's amazing. It really pushes you on to achieve your maximum in all avenues of life. It also has complications. I think not many people who aren't twins walk into a room with their sibling to be confronted with, he's the ugly one or he's the clever one. So it's always that natural comparison. I think the later you get in life has complications, but in terms of the competitive nature, I think it's something that's pushed me on to be where I am today.
James, let's go back into you and Harry growing up.
Yeah.
Wasn't all plain sailing down in Winchester.
Yeah.
Mum and dad. Yeah, just take us through those years.
Yeah, so early childhood years, mum and dad together for a variety of reasons didn't work out. Dad remarried, moved to London, which is about 3 hours from our hometown. And then mum went on to suffer quite badly with sort of a variety of mental health issues, which led me, my brother and my sister to live pretty independently from quite an early age. Particularly me and my brother, when my sister moved to university, she's 2-3 years older. So we're 15, 16, learning to fend for ourselves for long periods of time, which I think has made me the independent man I am today, but also makes twinship even that much closer.
How's mum now?
Yeah, she's amazing. She is sort of 10 years completely fine. She found herself through yoga and things like that. So she actually runs her own yoga business. She travels the world to like India, Canada, and that sort of stuff. So touch wood, they're doing really well.
One thing I'll say that's apparent to me is you don't seem to sweat the small stuff at all. Your big picture, you're very calm. Do you think that is a direct reflection of those years?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think at that age, for having to fend for yourself a lot of the time, you develop skills that not other people have the opportunity to. But I also think since then, I like to tackle challenges head on, which ultimately helps you evolve and develop as an individual. So I moved London together. He then moved home, married, engaged, kid. I then followed suit. to then live at home for 12 months.
To do that?
Because I thought he's doing it, so I should do it. I moved home for him and my nephew. And when I moved to London, it was the whole, my life's going to be amazing. It's going to be out of Winchester in London, doing something just totally cool, mind your own business and live somewhere else. I then found myself.
So you and Harry, you're living your best lives in London at this point. You're like 26 years old.
Yeah.
Working, you've got the job you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've worked hard, you've grafted. Harry's found someone.
Yeah.
He's moving back to Winchester.
Yeah.
He's having a kid. He's starting a family. You must have felt the peer pressure then.
Absolutely. I think to rewind 6 months before that, we're both in our sort of high-flying city jobs. He rekindles things with his ex-girlfriend from sort of 5 years prior to that. Moved back to our hometown, Winchester, ended up reproducing probably sooner than they thought they would to my lovely nephew, and then got engaged. And I found myself living in a house share in Clapham with my rock, my best friend, back home, starting a family, thinking, sort of, what do I do? And ended up following suit. So I moved back to Winchester, firstly to move back into the flat that we owned, to sell, to allow them to go on to buy their own place, but ended up staying for almost 18 months. And through that time, I was wondering what happened to my dream of moving to London and starting my business.
So James, you're 27. This is it. This is the next step for you. Progression looks like self-employment. Big step for you. I guess you're frustrated. You
Yeah.
feel like you've hit a glass ceiling. Take us through the next couple of years.
I knew it was the right thing to do. It's just having the courage to do it. I also had built up some capital value with my clients at my last place. So I knew if I was to exit that I would have a sum of money that could get me by if all went pear-shaped.
Did you just sell your client base on an AR basis?
It's basically this recurring income to the clients.
Yeah.
And it's 6 times this recurring income.
Sold your client base?
Yeah.
Presumably you couldn't take that client base with you?
No, so client base stayed where it was, but yeah, I felt with the dual qualification that they relied heavily on me. And also I was acquiring clients in some big corporate companies in the tech world, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, and word of mouth, and there's thousands of employees there.
Was this the natural direction for you when it came to your perfect client within tech?
Yeah, I think my experience means I have a lot of experience in the tax side and the financial advice side with those clients. I went off on my own within my last company just before COVID, so after 2020. 2020 was a fantastic year for the tech world. There's more IPOs than ever before. That's when a company goes public.
Everybody needed solutions.
Everyone needs solutions. Everyone was working from home. So I had so much more time. And I think I did 3 times the amount of business that year than I did the year before. And all of my clients were at tech companies. So I soon realized that I had a niche. I soon realized there's an issue, and I soon realized that I can solve that issue. And these companies have thousands of employees globally. We only work with UK-based people. But I soon realized that I could tap into these companies. And as we naturally came out of COVID, the trajectory continued. And that sort of led to me parting ways last year.
You've handed your notice in.
Yeah.
You're starting your own business. Massive step. No question, ballsy step. You've left the protection of the corporate world and everything that comes with it. You can't take your client base. You've got to rebuild. And presumably there are protections in place. So you can't just take existing clients with you. Did you have any time off?
Yeah, definitely. So I took 3 months off. Wasn't planning to take 3 months off. I flew to Dubai to see a friend who lives there, stayed there for a couple of weeks. And then another friend asked if I fancied joining him in Vietnam for 2 weeks, which we did. And then we flew to Bangkok for our journey home and ended up staying in Thailand for a month, which was amazing. Was away for 2 to 3 months into Southeast Asia in total. Again, a huge chapter of my own personal growth, which was amazing. And yeah, I think Thailand and Vietnam were 12 months, which were needed after sort of 7, 8, 9 years of relentless exams, relentless sort of building a client bank, etc. A break well needed and well deserved. I then came back and made a choice to move back to London, which was another big step.
Did you miss Harry?
I did, yeah, but I still managed to see him, which is nice. And then, yeah, and I've now formed Third Wealth.
So James, you come back from Southeast Asia, you refresh, you're raring to go. You've got to rebuild your client base. You've got your North Star. You know exactly what your value proposition is going to be for Third Wealth. Give us your elevator pitch on Third Wealth.
Third Wealth is a tax and financial planning business that helps individuals secure their family's wealth, in short.
Tell us about your typical Third Wealth customer.
Typical customer tends to be an employee at a tech company. Apple, Google, Amazon are the most famous amongst those where I have clients. And they, as part of their remuneration package, are offered equity because they're all listed on the US tech market, which can be very lucrative, assuming the company continues to grow as they all have done over the last sort of 5 to 10 years. And with that comes challenges around exposure to income tax, capital gains tax, and also overexposure to holding hundreds of thousands or £1 million in one company when you haven't got diverse savings elsewhere. So we come in to help them understand the taxes involved, how they can obviously lawfully mitigate their exposure to taxes, claim back taxes, and shield their wealth from tax to ultimately secure what they and their family want.
Sounds to me like your acquisition strategy for Third Wealth is organic.
Yep.
How do you find new clients?
Typically, it starts with cold outreach on LinkedIn. So searching where individuals may work, if it's a particular company in mind that you think employees could do with your specialities. So yeah, a lot of cold outreach on LinkedIn. And then naturally, as you take on clients and do a good job, so the word of mouth picks up within the office. I think it's such an area where there's little understanding. And when someone comes across someone who understands it, or at least comes across as they do, it really picks up in the office. And yeah, I think even so far this year, I've had probably as many referrals as I have out cold reach, and that's from a client bank of 0 back in April.
Amazing. How many clients have you got now?
At the moment, 32 households.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
In eight months?
Yeah. If I carry on the rate I'm going, it's just going to be stupid.
On your own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I could do 150 by myself.
Okay.
I can pay for admin support.
Yeah.
Which helps. So all I am is sort of the face for the
Sure. Yeah.
over 150, I'd have to look at bringing people in.
Yeah.
But then you can clip your business and sell some of it, and there's options.
James, what are your aspirations for Third Wealth next few years?
At the moment, I've got a business where I could travel the world if I wanted to. I could live in London, I could live in Winchester, I could do whatever. But I think rather than always gunning with what the business goals are, I want to see what happens in personal life, i.e. still single, go and have a girlfriend, or get married, kids, whatever that may be.
You really feel like, actually, do you know what? You've got your base here now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I couldn't be happier in Wandsworth. In the last 2 years in particular, I've done a lot of work of the whole twin, individual, move out to London. I really want to let the person side
come through now,
evolve.
Yeah.
And then the business, I could still operate and take on the amount of clients I am now for the next 2 years, definitely. And I don't want to employ people when it then hinder personal life. Look at my brother, and he had another co-founder and employees. He sat them all because none of them were profitable. And now he has the perfect balance in he looks after his son 2 days a week. His girlfriend's an influencer. She looks after him 2 days a week. And then they just have the perfect balance in life. I'm torn between keeping it a lifestyle business and growing it to 50, 60 advisors and turning over 20 million a year. I don't think that would necessarily make my life happier. Would it make me more successful? In some people's eyes, potentially, in others, it wouldn't. So yeah, I think it's important to let the personal side sort of drive decision-making for the next couple of years.
James, really refreshing and a moment for us all listening to take note. You have got such strong conviction at this stage in your life that you are going to have a life and the business will grow with you. How do you see that panning out in the next couple of years? Do you think you can get that balance right, grow the business and do all the things that you want to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think the next couple of years it's important to put personal life first.
Contrary to everything that's on the internet about hustle culture and wake up at 5 and do this and do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's so much pressure that to be successful, you have to go in an ice bath at 5 a.m. and then do a 10K run followed by whatever it may be. I think I'm so passionate about living the truest and best life that I can. And that isn't hustling with the business 7 days a week and exiting for £50 million. It's being close with my brother, with my friends, with my family, with potential partner, and being able to travel the world and just being able to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. And I think people in the office have seen that already by the amount I play paddle and other sports. But it truly is. For me, success is being able to do what you want when you want.
Don't also forget that you're in there at 9 o'clock at night. You might play paddle at midday, but when you've got to put the work in, you put the work in.
Yeah, for sure. I think the beauty of my job now, pre-COVID, it was very different. We used to be pinstripe suits, ties, clean shaven, and sort of hustling around the city. COVID hit, was a shockwave. It all went virtual. I think pre-COVID, if we offered a client a virtual call, they would never have accepted. But now it allows us to be a lot more efficient. And I always don't joke that Monday to Wednesday, I'll work all the hours that I need. Thursday onwards, especially Thursday afternoon, it's more personal time. And that comes first. So I feel like I have a good balance of first end of the week is get your work done. And when your work's done, really enjoy the personal side.
Just because you're not sat at your desk doesn't mean you're not thinking about it. James, it's brilliant seeing you cracking away in FOUNDRY Wandsworth. You're in your office, doing your thing. You're out and about. You're in the mix. You're in the gym.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. You are pretty aspirational, inspiring, I would say, because you seem to lead the way on the social side. You're at every run club. You're at all the paddle games, which is great, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. But who appointed you as the position of FOUNDRY Social Secretary in Wandsworth?
I think it was Gary and Beth and Ed probably gave me that title, which I take with great pride. No, I think, look, I look back to why I joined the social space, and it's not to work more efficiently because I was working efficiently before, but it's to interact with like-minded people. And a huge part of my life is sport. And therefore, I think it's really important to ramp up the social side. Someone had to take the initiative, and I couldn't be happier paying sort of 5 times a week.
James, I feel a lot of love from you for FOUNDRY. We've only been opened here for a relatively short period of time. How does FOUNDRY add value to you?
It's a great question. And I remember before I signed up, a couple of the FOUNDRY staff said to me that we're not just a co-working space, but a community. And honestly, hats off to you guys because it's exceeded all my expectations. And it honestly feels more like a second home. I look forward to coming here every day, and the members and staff are just amazing. You've got the perfect balance of productive work, doggy daycare, and a sports club as well.
James, it's so obvious that you are so focused now. And the next chapter in your 30s is going to be lifestyle driven. You've spent all those years training. You've set the business up. You've got all your qualifications with the FCA. You've gone through all of that pain and investment in time and money and risk. Your 30s are all about building you. James, what podcast are you into at the moment?
Favorite one is Modern Wisdom by Chris Williamson. He's a British guy living in America and talks all things which are very relatable to, I think, in particular, young men. He was a club promoter throughout his 20s and then went teetotal, all about bettering yourself. And he's not one of them where it's, you have to be doing your ice baths or whatever. And if you've ever had a pint, you're a criminal. He's very relatable and talks around struggles and aspirations that most young men have. So I'm a regular listener to that.
Definitely inspiring for you then at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
James, the moral of this recording today, stand out for me, has to be the competitive but positive relationship you have with Harry, your brother. Throughout your lives, you've pushed each other along. He's beat you, you've beat him. He's pipped you, you've pipped him. He started his business first. You started your business. He's had a family first. You're now thinking about that stage of your life. There's a lot of positives in there. Do you think Harry's proud of you?
Absolutely. I don't think a day goes past where we don't tell each other we're proud of each other and genuine. I think when you are a solo business owner, it's very difficult to stop and recognize how far you've come and give yourself that praise. Yeah, we've got a hard date in the diary next week to go out and celebrate.
James, it feels like Third Wealth could be working within our network. How can we and our listeners and members help you?
I think it's just continuing to encourage members to speak and to open conversations. The other branch to our business is we're very good at helping business owners, whether it be extracting money from the company tax-free or tax efficient income or protection, whatever it may be. So I think,
life insurance,
exactly.
Pension,
shareholder
advice.
protection, whatever it may be. So there's lots of that for business owners. But I think as a network, FOUNDRY, it's just encouraging members to socialize as we do.
Okay, social secretary.
Yeah.
Are you going to be group social secretary?
Yeah, social sec for all FOUNDRYs.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just encouraging members to continue as they are. I think I've already had conversations with other members about how I could potentially help them or they could potentially help me. And it's fantastic. And I know, at least in this FOUNDRY, everyone's very open to that.
James, thanks for coming on. Work This Way. How do we find Third Wealth and how do we find you?
Yeah, and thank you guys for everything you do. But Find me at Wandsworth location or thirdwealth.co.uk is the website. Email james.palmer@thirdwealth.co.uk and LinkedIn and mobile number and everything's on there.
James, you're so aspirational. You quit a well-paid finance job in the city to launch your own company with no clients. You've worked hard to grow that quickly, and you work hard to have a work-life balance, something I'm sure a lot of our listeners are seeking. Thank you so much for joining us on Work This Way and sharing your story. Thanks for listening to Work This Way by Foundry. If you want to chat with James about how he achieves his work-life balance, visit FOUNDRY Wandsworth. Our team will gladly introduce you to him. This episode was recorded in FOUNDRY Wandsworth, hosted by me, Adam Walker, edited by Josh Hall, and produced by Gary James.